Got to Sun City, got out. One of the guys there wanted to put in a complaint that he was robbed in the van, and the cops said, hey, that's not our business. And when you get to Sun City in those days, and they book you in, obviously they check your tattoos, they check if you've got any scars on your body, any old operations. That is done for the sake of if your enemies decide to cut your head off and stuff it in the toilet, they can still know who you are by your tattoos and your scars and what you see. So while they're doing that, the other guys are in the cage. It basically next to the church office, in the cage there in Sun City. So there in the cage, robberies and what fights and everything is carrying on there. And then when they done booking in all the prisoners from all the courts, from Kliptown, Lens, Alexander, Hillbrow, all the areas around Johannesburg, everybody that's going to Sun City, when they're done doing that, then they count all the prisoners. When they count, after counting, they check the books, okay, everybody's here, no one is missing. Then you get taken out of the cages to the Hofcelle. There's a special place which they call the Hofcelle. You just sleep overnight in those cells. The next morning you go into your section. Now in those days it was like, if you're going to court from the 15th to the 1st, you're going to C section. If you go to court from the 15th to the 30th, you're going to B section. So on my first day I was sent to B section by myself. Now, while I was still with my familia and all that, we were in B section, cell number 21, right in the corner there. We had basically taken over that cell. So that was like a home for us. Now when we come back from court, go into the section, the cops would tell you, hey, you know where you stay, everybody go back to your homes. And then the new guys would be divided into different cells. And then they check for 26, 27, 28, there's your people, there's your people, there's your people. Okay. So, went back to our cell number 21. Stayed there. Now I'm by myself now. My crew is gone, my uncle, my mother's brother, he didn't get bail. He had another case. So he was found guilty for that case. I think it was attempted murder, and he was sentenced to 10 years. So he was taken to Project 3 in B section. That's where the guys are that have further charges. If you have another case pending against you, that's where they put you. You see, they call it further charge. So I'm here in Project 4, waiting trial. I learned a lot there, lots of fights, met more crooks, and so it went. I think I stayed in the waiting trial for 14 months. I was getting tired of, like they say, eat and slap, eat and lay. That was the routine every day. You could go and fetch your breakfast, come back to the cell and sleep. Sit around, do nonsense. Second dish, same thing. Last dish, same thing. During the night, we would bully the newcomers and make them sing, and take all the new guys, all the baris. If you are not a number, you can be 20 or 30, we give you 3 mattresses and 3 blankets. You must work it out there for yourselves. And so it went. Went on like that for a long time, 14 months. And then time came, we started with the case. Now I had a friend who, he was from Old Elders, Des. He was arrested with somebody called Mike. They were arrested for killing a white cop and attempted murder on a black cop. So me and Des became good friends. We went to High Court together and all those things. One day we went, as we were busy with our cases, when we came to the basement for lunch, we were together in one cell, one holding cell. When we came back after lunch, Des and Mike were next door. So I'm calling out to him, there through the burglar, hey Des. He answers me. I said, Des, now why are you next door? What's happening now? He said, hey, die boer het ons hangpaal gegee. I said, what? Now he had beef with his accused, because they started blaming each other for this murder, you see. So he started swearing, this Mike, what, mother, what. Guys, come on, man, don't fight, man. Julle is albei nou hangpaal gegee. Okay, after some time, the van that takes them to the dead cells pulls up. They open the cell. I stood at the burglar, looking out, and they were taken out one by one. They put them short steps. Short steps are those chains they put around your legs. So they marched off into the van. And I'm standing at the burglar and looking. They both got in, and I remember Mike looked back and he said something to me that I can't remember. But I couldn't believe that this man is going to hang, man, for real. They took them away. We were sent back to Sun City. And I saw quite a few guys that were sent to the death sentence. Like Paul Stichling. There's another guy called Desmond from Rebellie. And Paul. And quite a few guys that were hanged or were sentenced to death in those days. And I thought, if it happens to me, so what? Okay, we went back to Sun City, slept over. The trial was continuing. The second day we went back. So it went, and eventually we were found guilty. Sent to Sun City to sleep, and tomorrow come and fetch your sentences. Now, you're feeling funny now, because you know it's the last day now. There's no more up and down. Court to back in Sun City and all that. So we went to court the next day for sentencing. All of us were found guilty. Sentence. We received 11 years. 3 years concurrent, which means you're serving 8 years. Then, that same day when we were sentenced, my uncle was there, and my friends, these uncles of mine and cousins and what. They decided to send one of the they sent the policeman to go and buy a half jack of, I think it was vodka or something. So we drink, this policeman came with the vodka, and we were waiting for the truck to take us to Project 4 now. No more waiting trial. We're going to Project 4 now. We've been sentenced. So we're standing there and drinking out of this half jack. And they came, they put us in the van, took us to Project 4. Came to Project 4, they booked us in, took us to, I think, the 3rd floor. That's where you slept when you came from court, and tomorrow you're going to the section. So, okay, we're nice and drunk now. Just imagine a bunch of colored, liquor drunk, and there's this guy that takes care of the cell where we're sleeping. He starts to talk too much, and I told him, brother, you know what, just take it easy, because these guys, they're not all right in the head, and they drunk, you see. You might just not see tomorrow if you carry on like this. And I think he also realized that, hey, these guys that are here in this cell are not too friendly, you see. We slept there. Next morning, took us back to the church office, gave us our clothes, shoes, divided us into the different sections. We went to D section, Project 4 D section. Gave us cells, and that's where we ended up. Stayed in D section. Met some new friends there, old friends from outside, people I knew, and then normal prison life carried on. And that's when I decided, no man, I need to become a number. So there was I was introduced to a guy there by the name of Anwar. He comes from Cape Town, I think. I'm not sure if he comes from, but I think he's from Joburg, but he was arrested in Cape Town, you see. I'm trying to think of his real name, but we used to call him Anwar. And Shaban Davis. I believe he passed away, Shaban. So that's how I got involved in the number, but you know, it's not just getting involved. You have to do something to prove that you are worth it. And got involved into that. Okay. From there,
you say what you had to do?
We had to stab somebody in the kitchen. And then in those days, you see what the white guys used to do, the apartheid government. This is how they used to work. They used to alternate between weekends. One weekend is white guys that are in charge, and the next week is black guys, you see. So, you know that the white wardens were fundamentally cruel, you see. If you can stab somebody while it's their weekend, you are in serious trouble. They will beat you half to death and take you to this ankle cell, to the kulukuts, you see. So most guys prefer doing that nonsense when the black wardens were in charge, when it was their weekend, you see. So you had the choice there. You either choose that weekend or that weekend to stab somebody, you see. But you had to do it in the kitchen. In the, like they say, the mess hall where everybody eats, you see. Because those days there were no tables. I don't know if there's tables now. You used to sit 2 rows, face each other. This row, this row, this row, this row. Then this row and this row would face each other. You would eat like that on your, like you sit on your haunches, you see, and you eat. And there are guys that had maybe leg operations and what they was allowed to stand, you see. So while you're still eating, somebody would just jump up with a sharp object and grab you and start stabbing you, you see. And you must remember the warden, one of the wardens is standing at the entrance there, the other one is standing there. When he comes, when he gets to you, you're half dead, you see. But they would make sure you don't do it again, you see. You would get a good hiding, like seriously beat you to a pulp, you see. The white people, the white government had these batons. It's got an ugly name, you see.
People know.
Yeah, you see, in that rubber baton, there was a what do they call it? A piece of lead inside. You see, if he hits you over the head, that thing would bend. Then he would turn it around and hit you on the other way. It would bend on the other side again. You see, it was like quite heavy. You see, but it was made of rubber, so that lead gave it that weight. That's what they would hit you with. And if you are stabbing somebody or hurting somebody to become a number, while they beat you, you can't scream. I say, there's no screaming. No way. Just take your pain and, like they say, suck it up. You see, yeah. So that is how it went for a long time. So. Now, you are unlucky if you had to do that while it was the white guys, you see.
And what happened after you got
They take you to the Kulukuts.
when you got the number?
Well, that will happen in time, you see. Like you do your stabbing today, go to the Kulukuts, maybe you get, if it's a bad stabbing, you're going to court outside. You understand? The cops come and they make a case of attempted murder or GBH. You see. Then the court will decide what to do with you. The court can give you 3 years, 2 years, whatever. You see, it depends. But when that is sorted out now you're going to start to get your schooling, you see. Now you're going to be taught how things work, what is what, and what, you see. So, after that, you fall into line. You become like a soldier, you see. You've got your rules and regulations of discipline and order and what. It's not like today, man. Today, those days there was honor in being 26, 27, you understand. These days it's more tsotsis becoming numbers, you see, and that the number was not made for that, you see, to be a tsotsi, to show people that ek is ook iets in die tronken. It was not made for that, you see. The number was invented to fight injustice in prison, you see. The treatment of the white government against black prisoners. The man that invented the number, that started the number, did it for that reason, to fight for the rights of black prisoners, you see, because when the number started, things were terrible in prison, you see. People were like, like you run a hog farm, you see, a vark plus. That's how it was. So, I understand when you speak to old prisoners, they would tell you that black prisoners had it worse. You see, their hair was cut differently from all the other races. You see, they would cut one side of your hair, you had to leave the other side. Food was next to pigsty food. You see. So the number was invented to fix those injustices. You see. There was no cigarettes allowed. There was no radios allowed. There was visiting was something. It's not like today, you see. So the number was invented to fix all those things. So the guys did those things, you see. In fact, to be honest, these days there's basically no need to become a number, because the things that were fought for have been gained, you see. So why do we become a number now? Because today you can watch TV in prison, you see. To us, when we were in prison, you were allowed a radio, you see. But you know what's the difference between a FM radio and an AW radio? It is AW. I can't remember the frequency. The FM radio only used to catch like a certain amount of stations, you see. Now, if you wanted stations like BBC and Radio Sonder Grenzen, what you had to add a better radio. You see. So the FM radio was allowed those days. But you know, prisoners, they would always do something to make the radio better. You see, so there were guys with that quality of radio. You see. Today, people have DVDs in prison, TVs. You see, we would watch TV once a week, but it also took a lot of effort, you see,